April 13, 2011, Her Excellency Madame Callista Mutharika, the First Lady of Malawi, visited the Malawi's mission to the United Nations in New York City. The First Lady was in New York to attend the UN conference.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Well, thank you.
It matches.
Oh, wow.
It matches.
Wow. It's beautiful. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Excellency, I officially welcome you to your mission. But it's on its mission to Malawi.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Scott with it.
Her Excellency Madame Callista Mutharika spoke on cervical cancer at the UN building.
Thank you so much, Karen, and it is indeed a privilege to, in fact, share this podium with a very distinguished panel of speakers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. Good afternoon, and thanks again for joining
where
us.
she in fact has worked as the First Lady of the Republic of Malawi and incoming Vice President or Vice Chairperson of the Forum of African First Ladies Against Breast and Cervical Cancer. It is a privilege to be here among you, members of the United Nations and the international community, to celebrate our commitment to this cause, but also to discuss needed actions regarding women's cancers and non-communicable diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by thanking the permanent mission of the Republic of Malawi, the permanent missions of the member states of the Caribbean community, the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, and the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, for co-sponsoring this side event, as well as our collaborators at the American Cancer Society, Forum of African First Ladies, Human Papillomavirus Vaccination, and life-saving pre-cancer screening to facilitate early treatment. Cervical cancer caused by sexually transmitted infection with human papillomavirus continues to be a public health problem worldwide, as it claims lives of more than 270,000 people. Our objectives as a forum are to advocate for increased awareness on breast and cervical cancer in outcomes document generated by the UN high-level meeting. These two diseases are good examples of NCDs that we can take on now using tools already at hand. We ask you to contact the delegations of member states and UN agencies who are organizing the high-level meeting to inform them of our common interest in fighting women's cancers. I urge you all to seriously reflect on the situation of the African women, and let's together discuss the best way forward. It is therefore my honor and pleasure, on behalf of the African First Ladies Against Breast and Cervical Cancer, its patron and Chair to formally launch and present to you the advocacy part of the Forum of African First Ladies Against Breast and Cervical Cancer at this very important meeting held today on 13th of April 2011. I thank you all for your attention.
His Excellency Mr. Brian Boller, Ambassador of Malawi to the UN, spoke on cervical cancer.
Madam Callista Mutharika, distinguished cancer survivor, distinguished ambassadors of permanent reps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to thank you all for your presentations, which have been extremely motivating and also very moving. But more importantly, to thank you all for your commitment in fighting cancer, and in particularly the fight against breast and cervical cancer. I wish to salute my First Lady, Her Excellency Madam Callista Mutharika, as well as the African First Ladies Forum for the commitment and passion that they have demonstrated in championing the fight against cancer. 53,000 African women die well losing experience every year. Teachers, nurses, entrepreneurs, political leaders, but most of all, we are losing our future. Cancer in women, and it is a development issue as well as a health issue. Addressing them is a moral imperative. Cervical cancer often kills when women are still strong and productive in their families and communities, and when others are heavily dependent upon them. The cancer burden imposes a substantial financial toll on all families, as we have just heard. The burden of home care can force low-income families to withdraw children from school, particularly girls. This in turn contributes to the ongoing cycle of poverty. Cervical cancer is a huge problem in Africa, where the World Health Organization estimates that over 80,000 new cases appear each year. Just imagine, colleagues, Yankee Stadium, which you're all familiar with, at its full capacity. Now imagine that a dreadful tragedy was to occur and half of all the people in the stadium were to die. Imagine more than 50,000 people dying and 30,000 people left behind to face life-threatening injuries. This surely would attract the world's attention. Yet, these are statistics we are facing when we look at cervical cancer, but this disease is not getting the urgent attention it deserves. It is not time that this disease was met with appropriate time response. Our people in Africa are familiar with cancer and the pain it causes, even if they don't know it by name. Cancers like cervical and breast cancer, so often undetected in developing countries, can quickly spread and cause widespread pain and illnesses in persons. Recent studies have shown that when our people understand that there are simple ways to prevent these killers, they enthusiastically use these services. Girls, as well as the new cancer screening approach for adult women, can go a long way in preventing and mitigating the impact of these tragedies. Screening women for cervical cancer should be complemented with screening for breast cancer, anemia, diabetes, hypertension, as well as many other diseases. Cervical cancer prevention integrates extremely well with other essential health services that must be made available to all women. Breast cancer killed over 450,000 women worldwide With early detection and timely treatment, breast cancer survival rates are over 90%. Sadly, depending on where a woman lives, may mean a long, fulfilled life, or may mean a grim prognosis and a death sentence. Let us also remember that the circle of life is entrusted to the prosperity of women. I thank you.
Excellency, thank you very much.
Trying to come and visit me anytime. Email me, please. Email me. Come and visit me in my professor.